Dude, I might do a clean wipe on my computer. That whole recording shit is like weird sometimes. I swear it happens the most on multiverses as well. Maybe it's some sort of weird setting that I have, but I have like this weird thing where it has like this crazy effect where like, I don't know, you'll be able to see it in the past couple videos where it'll like shimmer. It's crazy. It'll be playing like normal and then out of nowhere, it'll like show a frame from previously or even like in the future playing and it'll like flash and shit. I ain't trying to induce seizures. Also, really quick before we start talking about some of this shit, thank you guys so much for all the love and support on that multiverses video yesterday for Gizmo. I was never big into the Gremlins when I was younger and shit. It just wasn't really within my range. But so there's some polls going around at the moment as well, which actually have some surprising results on them. I mean, not so surprising if you're incredibly jaded like myself, but year over year, I managed to convince myself over and over and over again that it'll be okay. There's a poll that Modern Warzone put out. It says, if slide canceling isn't in Modern Warfare 2, will you be happy, sad, or angry? And with nearly 20,000 votes, with 58.2% of the vote, people say that they would be happy if slide canceling just isn't even in the game. Around 30% say that they're sad, and around 12% say that they're angry. I think most people with the slide canceling stuff, I don't know. I feel like it's very, very important in terms of the feel of the game, which overall affects the enjoyability of playing the game for a long period of time, especially. I thought more people would vote that they would be like sad and angry about it being gone, but at the same time, I could totally see people that, you know, especially after all this time, and then even the people that do the slide canceling and stuff like that, you can find plenty of people that are very, very good at slide canceling. I know a lot of people talk about skill gap and shit like that. They had already said, and I've talked about this before, that it was an accessibility issue. It's very strange when certain accounts start asking these kinds of questions and shit. You know, obviously, I think the devs already look at the feedback and stuff, but some of them are just by design and they just kind of make us deal with it, and then other ones can actually be adjusted. Yeah, I can't wait to run into that shit on Modern Warfare 2. People play this shit just so slow and just so... Every Call of Duty always tends to have its own style. Every engine tends to have its, you know, players that are better and worse on them. Obviously, the people that are good at, you know, Warzone and shit like that are also probably best in terms of multiplayer anyway through Modern Warfare. Same thing is going to be the case with, you know, this. So Metaphor actually put out some information out there. Now, I don't know who his source is or anything like that, but... And I don't know who they talk to or who they know or whatever, but this is just like word of mouth type of shit. It's not usually a leaker, but... Says that Warzone 2 update, NPCs are in the map randomly, container-based looting as well as floor loot. So I assume container-based looting in terms of, that means like, would open up an inventory screen that would pop open, and then you would select what you wanted out of it. Apparently no Tetris though, so it's not like that. Honestly, it's probably a lot like Blackout, although the Blackout UI and shit was absolutely terrible. It took quite a while for them to even get those menus correct. It's gonna be the same case with this. I mean, nothing is ever perfect. There's apparently different size backpacks, like tier 1 through 3. Tier 3 basically makes it so you'll be able to hold all the way up to what we would hold originally in Warzone 1. I assume that's like a primary, a secondary, whatever amount of equipment and whatever amount of plates. Straight up, if they have snapshot grenades in the game and it's a fucking camp fest, I'm using them again. I don't care. I'm not gonna get fucked on the same way I did in 2019 on this kind of game. Hell no. I'm not letting it happen. There's new contracts. Helicopter from High Rise is actually usable. So there was a helicopter in like center High Rise. Although I would say that the crane is more iconic than the helicopter there. Yeah. Slide canceling won't be in the beta, but they have the option to turn it on and off. Probably waiting for a community reaction. I don't know what he means by being able to turn it on and off, but whatever. Cars appear to have limited fuel. Automatic refuel and repair gas stations you enter by driving near them. That makes a lot of sense. So it seems like they're trying to add some more like, quote, realistic elements to the game, but at the same time, you know, it still needs to be fun. They're making it interactive, I guess, but it needs to be fun, and they just put me back into the same game. I don't care how dead this shit is. Don't you ever put me back into the same game I left. It should be on a list that I cannot get put back into it. It's gonna be tough too, because early in that game, it's gonna be, you know, us dealing with the maps and everything and hoping that they're good. There's no way they could be worse than Modern Warfare 2019 though. It's just not possible. They simply can't. I don't even feel like I'm jinxing it or some shit like that by like saying that. I genuinely believe that it is not possible that they can make a worse group of maps at launch anyway. Even I don't know if we know how many maps are gonna be on launch, but we've come to know that having more maps on launch, apparently, you know, it was considered a good thing for a long time, but at the same time, we've seen if we have too many maps at launch, we end up being like drip fed one map per season, like with Vanguard. We had a shit ton of maps on launch, and then we got shafted the rest of the year. It seems like they make a set number, and we just go from there. It makes a whole lot of sense. There is no longer toxic gas coming into the map. It is now a dust storm, which, I mean, I guess that makes sense, but, I mean, there's technically like a mask for dust storms, right? So, I mean, is that lootable? Plenty of new vehicles. One returning is the ATV. No news on a rebirth type map. They're definitely gonna make one though. Was told another map is already being developed developed for the big BR. New close quarters contract, something that looks like a safe. The modern city point of interest, aka downtown, literally looks like a section of a GTA map. It's extremely detailed and looks amazing. If it's extremely detailed, I can't imagine how detailed the corners are going to be. And one thing that I was actually thinking about too, and then I just saw a tweet from Hope, so it's kind of funny the way that it lines up. But now there's no news for any of this, and again, he's even going to specify that there's no whatever, but the way that I was thinking about it, just speculation. Shouldn't there, like, in theory, be some kind of beta or some sort of testing for Warzone 2? And I've heard rumors about needing testing and gathering players and stuff like that to do some tests. It is basically impossible for them to test the game as a whole if they can't collect like 100 players at a time, or, you know, Warzone's case, like 120, 150. And who knows how many players they're gonna have on this map of this size and how they plan to pace it and shit. But just assume at the save point, 100 players. They'd have to collect 100 people to play, or they could just spawn 100 bots and see how it goes. But that's, you know, that's not a real representation of real player behavior. So I was thinking on top of that, Hope also put out a tweet. He says himself, I think we might be allowed to play Warzone 2. Oh, come on, man, I'm busy. You flashed me and everything and still lost. I hit him while I was blind. He says, I think we might be allowed to play Warzone 2 during the beta next weekend. Not 100% on this. There was some shit going down at the UFC event as well. Hamza Chamiah versus Nate Diaz. Kevin Holland versus Rodriguez. We got Jin Liang versus Tony fucking Ferguson at 170 now. New home. A lot of people say that this card, like, sucks in terms of, like, I don't know, star power or names or something, but I actually really like this card. I think this card has a lot of potential. The amount of cards that people have said were super, super bad all ended up being bangers, where they end up getting finish after finish after finish, or have some crazy shit happen. Main card, Johnny Walker versus Ian Kutalaba. I think Kutalaba can probably be real boring and probably just wrestle Johnny, but Johnny is, I don't know, man. Johnny's crazy. He's insanely inconsistent. Ian Kutalaba is also pretty inconsistent, but he can choose a safe way to victory by wrestling. So I'm gonna go Kutalaba there, but Johnny could knock him out. That fight is impossible to pick. You have no idea what version of either fighter is gonna show up there. Aldana versus Kazan. Aldana's serious. Good luck with that one. So Kevin Holland versus Daniel Rodriguez. I think Kevin Holland's gonna win that. Kevin Holland just has more ways to win. They're not gonna wrestle. They're just gonna scrap. And in virtually most situations where Kevin Holland had to do just a striker kind of situation, striker versus striker, he's done very well. Then Jin Liang versus Tony Ferguson. People say that this is like a really bad mismatch or whatever, but I don't know if people recognize that Tony Ferguson at 170 actually was like, that's where he started his career at. Yeah, see, these events that are going on right here, where this guy is doing this thing and all these little soldiers are dropping down and he has to kill them and shit. People are saying that this is to kind of prep and show people that, you know, AI is going to be part of Warzone 2, which I don't really know how everybody feels about that. It's a mixture. I mean, Fortnite also has it. It feels like a lot of BRs kind of have this thing, but I don't know. I'm pulling for Tony Ferguson in here. I know a lot of people probably aren't, you know, favoring him in this fight, but I think Tony can win this fight. This guy just sat there and showed exactly where he was, made all this crazy amount of noise, was shooting a bunch of AI, and nobody came to kill him, all for an advanced UAV? I'm sorry, but nobody really wants to do all that for an advanced UAV, right? Is it just me? Am I lazy? I would rather just go around and kill players for shit instead. I'd rather not even do these kinds of events at all. I could go into more detail about the matchups, but tomorrow I have a guy that's coming in and fixing some of the doors in the house. We're just gonna get some new doors, like some real heavy, solid ones. It'll help a lot with dampening, you know, sound between our offices and shit. So I think Kevin Holland beats Daniel Rodriguez. I'm gonna pull for Tony Ferguson. I think he has more ways to win than people recognize. I just think they have forgotten. And if Tony wins this, the more that they're talking up, you know, the leech and everything, the better Tony's gonna look when he wins that fight. And then we got Chamiah versus Nate Diaz, one of the biggest mismatches in my opinion, I feel like. But again, anything can happen in a fight. Obviously, on paper, Chamiah should win, like, literally hands down. Shit, not even on paper. Literally on paper, with your eyes, with your ears, with your brain. Pretty much everything in your being is saying Chamiah wins this fight, other than your heart if you're a Nate Diaz fan. A part of me does think it'd be pretty crazy if he beats him, because, I mean, we didn't give him a chance at all against Conor McGregor. I don't remember what the odds were or some shit like that. Not that that is a big indicator of anything, but people are disrespecting Nate. It's crazy. Not to mention, you know, Nate Diaz's attitude and shit is not helping as well. He's like, I just honestly gave up preparing for this fight. Beat me then. Whatever, man. He literally said that. It's like everybody's talking about all this training and shit. Like, it's like, okay, whatever, man. Let's fight. Beat me then. You're supposed to beat me. You're supposed to be the next guy. Let's go. Fucking chop chop. If he doesn't dispatch of him in spectacular fashion, it's an underperformance. But this one here feels like something different. Everybody knows who Nate Diaz is, and you know what you're gonna get with Nate Diaz. The thing is, since you know that, for some reason, there's a little part in everybody's brain that's sitting there thinking, maybe in that 4th or 5th round, Chamiah might be a little bit tired. Hit him with the some good shit. If you've seen that interview, you know what I'm referencing. If not, you're lost. I don't know, Warzone 2 sounds like a very expansive type of mode, but I kind of wish it would be a little bit more focused on, you know, just the gunplay. Why does it have to have all of this extracurricular, just extra to it, you know what I mean? I fear that, remember early in Warzone 1, when everything felt really bare bones, and even when you go back and look at old gameplay, you go, oh man, look at all the quality of life changes and stuff like that. I feel like in this game, with Warzone 2 coming out, they're gonna be taking so much feedback into, you know, consideration, and also have this vision for like more AI and other crazy shit. I feel like they could potentially lose what, you know, made people enjoy Warzone in the first place. I don't know, we'll see. I could be wrong. Yeah, anyway, GG's.